Okay, we're rolling.
Okay,
Zosia,
Tim.
thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
What is SNOW? Because I feel like the acronym could be a little confusing.
Yeah, so if you don't know, SNOW stands for Sustainability Network Organization, and we're a nonprofit based out of Big Sky.
And what do you guys do? What's the,
Yeah, so we work really heavily with like sustainability and community resilience. And a lot of our work is rooted back to the 2023 Climate Action Plan up in Big Sky, which essentially just took input from like 40 different stakeholders around the community and used it to make a plan essentially to protect our environment. And so we have four sectors in that we like touch in, which is, let's see, waste reduction, transportation, energy efficiency, and then protecting our natural resources.
okay, so there's a lot there.
Yeah, there's a lot there.
If a, so you work with different businesses and then you give them some sort of, like, how, explain how this whole
Yeah,
process works.
so we do a lot in the community. So we work with a lot of different businesses. We work really closely with like the chamber and Visit Big Sky to essentially like provide resources for the community and then also like promote like different businesses that are doing like sustainability actions or like we host a lot of events. We do like with PBR, we do a zero waste section where we go to each like service vendor that's coming in and we make sure that all of their like plasticware that they're using is compostable. So we do different things like that within the community to like work with businesses to implement like sustainability actions around Big Sky.
So do you reach out to a business? Do they reach out to you? How does this process work? And then is there some sort of certification or something that they have that then they use in their branding and marketing?
Yeah, so I'll start. First of all, we do a lot of like outreach to businesses. We do have like businesses who will reach out to us, but we are really heavy on like community resilience and stuff and like taking that first step to get people involved. We recently last summer just developed a sustainable business achievement. And I worked pretty heavily on this project. I was an intern last summer and this was kind of like my main project, but essentially we developed a system to where we're having businesses like go through a jot form, an assessment, and fill out questions about their business. And then we have a scorecard that we assess their business on to see like what different sustainability actions they're doing. And we have a passing threshold, which I think is like 60% right now. And if that business passes, then we present them like an achievement, and then we then work to help promote that business and give them like different resources and cater like their needs to like what actions they're hoping to improve on. But we also still work with, any other business that wants to be involved, just curating different resources for them and providing them, it might be like they need a recycling bin, like working to get them a recycling bin or working to, come in and be like, where can we dump our oil that's like not harmful for the environment, like little actions like that. So, yeah.
And sorry if you already said this. Is this exclusive to Big Sky?
Yeah, right now it is just exclusive to Big Sky. We have done, like, we just certified a couple months ago Revitalized Restoration, which is in Four Corners. Um, it's hard because, like, I think we have to get, I don't know how it works with the different cities, but I know that we have, like, we work with Visit Big Sky and the Chamber to do it in Big Sky. And I think we haven't quite yet been able to expand out to, like, Bozeman and, Belgrade and stuff, but it would be something cool if we could do that.
Okay. So tell me the four different things that are your main focus, and let's go through them all one
Yeah.
by one. Before we keep rolling with today's episodes, I want to tell you about someone who changed how we show up as a business. When clients land on our website, we hear the same thing over and over. It just feels right. Amy of Unbridled Form asked us questions we'd never thought to ask ourselves, helped us figure out the deeper identity underneath our services, and translated that into a brand world we're genuinely proud of. Our ongoing partnership is easily one of the best investments we've made. Learn more at unbridledform.com. Now back to the show.
So it's energy efficiency, transportation, waste reduction, and then natural environment.
Okay, so if we start with energy efficiency,
Yeah,
what does that look like and how, what can a business do to improve that? And, where do you start?
totally. So Snow actually we work with Build Better Big Sky to do like an energy efficiency like process and stuff. So we come in and we see like, we have somebody monitor what's going on in your building or your house, and we can see like where heat is escaping. We can see like, are you using LED lights where you can be? Are you using, like programmed thermostats for when people are in and out of the office? Are you using, motion censored lights and stuff so that you don't have your lights on when they don't need to be. So that's kind of the bulk of our energy efficiency. It's also, just goes back to like simple actions like, are you turning off your lights at the end of the day? Are you turning off your open sign at the end of the day? Are you, turning off your printers if they don't need to be turned on? That's kind of the bulk of our energy efficiency, I would say.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I would get very frequently reminded to
Yeah.
turn off lights. So I think it's either you can be very fortunate and it's kind
Yeah.
of in your programming. You were either trained to or not to.
Yeah.
But for me, it's a pet peeve.
Totally.
But I don't think anyone means harm when you don't
No.
do it. I think it's kind of just habitual
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. And I was actually this morning just at a meeting with a business who just got certified, and they were saying like all the owners and stuff are like, how can we get our employees to like remember to turn the lights off? Because it's not that they like don't want to and stuff and like aren't like, they're like, it's more so like people just need to remind it because it wasn't, something growing up for everyone. So we're just like kind of opening up the conversation to like what, resources can we give around the business to be like, hey, like turning off the lights is really beneficial and it's going to save us like X amount of money throughout the year because we're wasting less energy by keeping the lights on all night. So yeah.
So, I mean, there's multiple net positives for the business because they're going to save money.
Totally.
And then they're just going to, for the environment, they're going to burn less energy and be more efficient.
Yeah.
So that makes complete sense. I think in thinking of senses like heating and cooling and lights and anything like that.
Yeah.
Is there ways that expands beyond kind of brick and mortar businesses?
I mean, totally. Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's stuff that people don't think about.
Well, so this morning we were just at Cornerstone Management, and they work with like roof tiling, to see how like their roof tiling can be more energy efficient during the winter. So people are having to scrape it off less, and it's like saving them more heat and stuff. So they're not spending as much time scraping off, and they're not having to replace tiles as much. Or they, have different like building materials that just save energy more, that they like implement around in like the walls and stuff, or like, different things like that. So that is kind of like an example. I'm trying to think of like some more nitty gritty specific ones.
I know I've heard with commercial roofing, a lot of it, the color makes a big difference on the way it will, how warm it will be or how quick it will lose heat.
Yeah.
Okay. Energy efficiency. Next one's transportation.
Yeah.
What does that one look like?
So transportation is cutting down either how much we're transporting things, or like how we're transporting things. So we have a couple of different actions within this. A big one that we helped sponsor is the Go Gallatin like carpooling system. So Snow sponsors a program where if you carpool, I think it's like 4 times a month, and you go in and you log your trips. And I think it's 3 or more people that you're carpooling with, like up the canyon, and you go log your trips. We send out a gift card every month to people just to incentivize, like, hey, like if you are going up to work in Big Sky and you have a bunch of other people going up to the office, like why not carpool with them? So that's a big one that we do. Another one is a procurement guideline that we created, and that just works on like looking at where your like supplies around your office are coming from. And not only like that, so like, if you're shipping something from California, right, you have the transportation that it takes to get there. But if that's coming with a bunch of waste, also the transportation that it takes to get that waste then to like the Logan landfill or something. So we have this guideline that kind of lays out like, where is your stuff coming from? 1, can you be getting it more locally? And 2, where is your waste going? So like, can you be working to reduce waste originally from the start point so that that waste then doesn't have to be transported? So that's a big one that we push on businesses, and we're like, hey, like look at where your stuff is coming from, look at how much waste is included in that, to think about all different transportation actions.
Hi folks, quick note from me. If you don't already know, the goal of Mountain Mule is to build real connection between Montana's businesses and the people they serve. If this episode or any other has given you something worth thinking about, smiling at, passing along, I've got a small ask. Share it with a friend, text it to someone, consider following the show. Whether you're using our services directly or following and sharing the show, those simple actions help support this business as well as the businesses and guests that have been a part of the show. Thank you for supporting these Montana businesses, local jobs, and this beautiful state. Now back to the show. I don't know if you've heard this running joke that the Montana, I think it's a Montana carpool is everyone takes their own pickup truck.
Yeah.
And I've seen the truth in that in my
Yeah.
own life. But I was working with some guys years ago in Big Sky, and we would all meet there in Gateway and drive
Yeah.
up together.
Yeah.
I mean, just the cost that can save you individually
Totally.
to put,
Yeah. And it's fun to carpool with people.
yeah,
Like, I'd way rather, drive up with people in the office than go by myself, both up and back. So
yeah.
it's,
I think I remembered seeing billboards for that for the carpooling stuff maybe in the
yeah.
last couple of years.
Yeah. 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 We're working to push it, and we're always looking for sponsors and stuff. Like, I think this month, July, will be the Conoco up in Big Sky. I think they help sponsor like a $10 gift card, and you can use that for gas or whatever snacks or anything that you need. So
Yeah, I've thought about this a lot being in having a background in the transportation industry, but there's a huge there's a huge hole in the market or a huge issue because and this is really more high end
yeah.
kind of luxury transportation, but there's I couldn't even tell you, but I depending on the time of year, I know it's in the hundreds, the amount of cars that come to or from Big Sky empty.
Yeah.
And
Oh
if
my
there was
gosh.
if there was the right software that existed, so the businesses could make more money and be more efficient, and they
Yeah.
could save. It's just such a waste.
Well, I think I heard this might need to be fact checked, but someone was telling me like last year, the miles driven in the canyon alone was like from here to the moon. Like, that's the distance of miles that are driven. And like you were saying, like tons of empty cars. So if
Yeah.
you can be like, even if you can go with like two other people that, are also then taking their cars, like that's cutting throughout the whole year. That's cutting down so much transportation through the canyon. So
Yeah, and I mean, like simple math in our industry is if we picked up some clients, drove them to Big Sky,
yeah.
we drive all the way back here. Like as a business, we have to pay for that expense, to pay that employee to drive both ways, to pay for the fuel. But that whole return trip makes no money.
Yeah.
So all that cost is absorbed by just the people that drove up there. But if that could be split with a return, it could be a little bit more than half for each customer.
Yeah.
So the business would make more, but each of the customers would save a lot of money or they'd save a good amount of money and it'd just be so much more efficient.
So much more efficient. Yeah.
But it's a weird destination because everyone flies here but goes there.
Totally.
And
it's super weird. Yeah. But I don't know, just doing what you can, getting people out there, incentivizing it in any way that we can. So that's kind of what that section covers.
okay, and tell me the next one.
Okay. The next one is waste reduction.
Okay, what does that look like?
I mean, this one is pretty straightforward, like, recycling things, doing what we can to like a big one that we push on like businesses is like printing on both sides instead of printing two separate papers if you can. We work a lot with like the Big Sky Food Bank to see like, especially like food and bev businesses and stuff, like how can we be like taking food that they might have at the end of the season and bringing it to the food bank. Composting, we work with Yes Compost we have a compost like program set up right now, and I forget this one I forget, but I think it's like the first like 4 like pickups are free or something. Like we have a system going with Yes Compost to where like a food and bev business can have a composting bin and we can help pick it up for free for them or something. So waste is pretty much just like cutting down anything that could be reused in another way, and keeping it out of the landfill. So,
do you guys work with any banks in Big Sky?
Banks. Oh, no, but last summer I was talking to one of the banks up there and they were showing us something. They like have like coins that they plant or something. Like they take like recycled paper and they turn it into like a coin that can then be planted and like dissolve. I don't know. That's a little side note, but we don't work with any banks.
I think of this, and I'm not going to throw the bank that I use under the bus because I'm not. But the amount of statements I get from them, because I have quite a few bank accounts just because of the way my business is set up.
Totally.
But I swear I've signed up for paperless statements so many times, and they still come.
Send you them.
And I just think the amount of time it takes to print all these, to mail them all out, to pay someone to do that is a huge waste. So
totally,
I'd be in support of you guys working with banks because I'd love it if they stopped sending me so many statements.
I'm sure everyone else would too. I'll have to look into that a little bit and get them on our radar or something. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I guess I'd imagine the amount of paper being printed on has gone way down in the last
yeah,
decade.
yeah, totally. And paper is one of the easy ones to recycle, especially in the valley. I think that's the main one that we like when I'm going through with a business and they're showing me what they recycle. Paper is a big one. So
Do you know what the deal is with recycling in Bozeman? Because I've heard a lot of different things about, I know from what I understand, we don't recycle glass.
yeah.
Then I know a lot of people were kind of up in arms because they were doing recycling and then it was getting dumped in the same truck as the garbage.
Yeah, I don't. So I know we're not allowed to recycle glass, which is a little bit unfortunate. It's the plastic one is weird because some plastics aren't recyclable here. Like I know like the clamshells for fruit, like those aren't recyclable, which is really annoying. But like bottles and things with caps are recyclable. Um, and like I think it's either a number 7 or a number 4, I think, but I don't know much about things being dumped in the same place, but I know like it is kind of hard to recycle here just because we don't have the resources to recycle everything.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate, but
Because I think if I understand correctly, all of our cardboard goes to Salt Lake.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the closest one. Or I think there's one up in Canmore too.
Okay.
It's either, but again, kind of a far way for recycling to go. So
Yeah. I guess that's kind of the cost of being in the middle of the country.
yeah, totally.
Okay. Fourth one.
Natural resources or
Okay.
natural environment. Yeah. Which is like for us would fall under like water. And then recently we were just been working on some more like wildfire resources too.
Okay.
So we can start with water. We work pretty closely with Gallatin River Task Force to push like water rebates and stuff. So if you look into like, a low flow toilet or a low flow fixture in your home or your business, and then you can reach out to Gallatin River Task Force and they do like a rebate program where they can like show you like, you're saving X amount of water and then that's saving you X amount of dollars and stuff. And they can work to get you like, you either need to install a new toilet or you just need to get like a fixture on your toilet or something like that. So we push that onto businesses. We also push just like simple things like, are you providing a water filling station in your business for, your employees so they're not going out and buying like a bottled water? Or like, are you providing like reusable cups in your business so that people aren't like then again going out and buying bottles of water? Like little things like that are pretty feasible for businesses. And then wildfire is, especially with like the concerning winter that we had, has been a really big push for us this year. We've been working with Fire Adapt Big Sky to develop some like resources and education that we're going to release like end of summer that just goes over like, evacuation plans, like fire resistant like plants around your home, fire resistant like building materials and stuff. Things like, are you keeping a stack of wood right next to your house? Like not, or business like not the best practice, or like, are you keeping like your grill, propane tank right next to your house or right next to your business? Like things like that that can be, make a huge impact if there were to be a serious, wildfire that came through the valley. So
Yeah, it will come out tomorrow. Not technically tomorrow for anyone who's listening to this, but tomorrow as we're recording this, I recorded a podcast with Jess from Firebreak Management.
nice.
And I
Yeah.
think she mentioned you guys doing some work with you guys.
Awesome.
But she was mentioning just some great tips, and some things were kind of logical that I wouldn't have thought of, but there's a lot that people can do to
Totally.
and I don't know, it's a little bit unsettling to think of
Yeah.
how dense it is in Big Sky and how many homes are up there.
Yeah. It's just been really scary. I know we've been super blessed with like rain the last couple of weeks, but I know like, when we had the fire in like February or March, whenever it was up in Gallatin Gateway, like that was super scary. And I think it opened a lot of people's eyes like, hey, like what can we be doing to like make sure that if there were something happen, like, are we ready for it? Like, are we prepped for it? So, and I think like, people don't typically think about that as like sustainability, but it is. Like if a fire were to come through, you wouldn't want to have to like, have all this stuff burnt down and then use a ton of resources then to rebuild everything up from the ground. Like, so what can we be doing to like prevent, loss of like materials and stuff? So,
and going back to the water, is there anything? I feel like water is kind of like some people are very opinionated about it. There's a lot going on. What is there anything simple that people can do with water just off
Yeah,
the top of their head or
totally.
your head?
I mean, we all hear of like the classic ones, like don't keep the sink on longer than you need to. Don't, if you're brushing your teeth or washing your hands, you don't need to have that on. I'm trying to think of what we have in our checklist. A lot of the main ones go back to like simply just like providing reusable things for people. Because that's a huge one. Like if you can have like a rainwater collection system just outside of your business, it can literally be as simple as like a bin that you set outside so that when it does rain, it catches water and stuff. And then you can then use that for like washing your vehicles if you need, or like, watering the plants around and stuff. Like, people don't typically think of that one, but it's something easy that like it's as simple as like putting a big plastic bin outside for when it does rain. And then you have water that, was otherwise going to be like gone into the ground and stuff that you can now use for like things around your business. So,
Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah.
So if a business and based guy is interested in what you guys are doing or wants to get any of these certifications, they reach out to you guys.
Yeah.
You give them an assessment, and then you're showing them things they could improve and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah, so it's pretty simple. We have a lot of our information on bigskysnow.org/biz. And the first step is they fill out like an inquiry form just to let us know they're interested. And then we then reach out to them, let them know what's up. If they have questions, we can like meet with them or email with them. Otherwise, we send them the assessment form. And it takes about 15 to 20 minutes to fill out. They go through, they fill it out in their business. And then that gets sent back to us and we go through it and then highlight actions that we think are good to bring up in a meeting and be like, hey, we think you guys could be improving here. Or like, we also highlight actions that we're like, hey, this is something that like makes you stand out apart from like, other businesses in the area. Or this is something that we would love to highlight because like, this is something other businesses could be doing that, they're not thinking about. And then, yeah, if they pass, we bring in a plaque for them and they can hang it up on their business. And we, walk through the business and get some like social media stuff. And then we continue to keep in contact with them and have them be a part of an action team that just works towards like bringing the community together.
So in theory, they're doing something good for the community. They can be saving themselves money and promoting their business.
Exactly. Yeah.
So who is behind getting this started?
I was actually.
Okay.
Yeah. So like I said, I got hired as an intern last summer through the Max Baucus Institute. They have a climate scholars program. And I was selected, fortunately, to then work with Lizzie and Snow up in Big Sky. And when I started, she was like, we really want to get some kind of achievement going in Big Sky to get businesses involved. So I went through and found like other mountain town communities. Like I worked with a lady in Vail and Breckenridge to get like ideas for what they were doing in those communities. And then I helped curate something that was like specific to the Big Sky community and used like feedback from tons of businesses around Big Sky and tons of like stakeholders in the chamber and Visit Big Sky to then create this like assessment that is like now live and rolling and stuff. So
nice.
Yeah.
And where did your desire come from to do this?
I just love the environment. I don't know. I spent a lot of time skiing and biking, and I've been very fortunate to spend the last 4 years here at college, and just like love the mountains here. And it's made me really like passionate about making sure that like the longevity of it is here for like years and years and years. So,
do you receive any like pushback with any of this stuff? Because I know like the environment and global warming, that can be a kind of divisive or political thing. So like where do you experience any of that with what you're doing?
Yeah, I think sometimes we do. I can't think of any like super like harsh specific examples, but I know, some people are a little bit more weary of it and they don't really want to participate. And I'd say like our main thing is like we're not trying to like, punish people for the actions that they are doing. We're more so trying to adapt and, make sure that we can keep living in the beautiful area that we do. So I think if we do receive pushback, our whole thing is like, hey, we're not trying to like stop what you're doing. We're just trying to like open up a different opportunity and adapt to, a changing climate.
Yeah.
So.
Is there anything like that you can think of, or is there any common pushback you do get with anything?
Like you were saying, like some people can be like, oh, this isn't going to work. Like, there's the classic, like, it's not going to help, anything. If I participate in this, it's not going to do anything. And I think what people don't realize is like little actions also move the needle. And so, if maybe you're thinking about participating and you're like, I don't know if this is going to do anything for me, is there really any incentive? And I just say, like, little actions around can have so much impact. And I think people don't realize that.
Yeah, I mean, there's generally a ripple effect that we don't see.
Yeah, totally.
But even if the one thing you did maybe didn't make a huge effect, but if 10 other people saw it,
Yeah.
and then that can keep snowballing.
Yeah, and I think, like, the transportation one is a good example. Like, that goes back to, like, if we're having, you're like, oh, it doesn't matter if we carpool, whatever. But if you have 10 people in your business carpool into, like, instead of 10 cars and 3 cars, that's cutting down 7 cars that's in the canyon, which is driving whatever 100 miles back and forth. Like, that's however many miles a year. Like, that's a huge cut down to transportation. So
yeah, I do think about it sometimes, because I hear people ask me about and talk about electric cars, and I feel like there's a lot of debate about that here, because are they very sustainable in this climate? Is it too hard to charge them? And do you guys get into that, or are you more just focused on what people can do to improve?
We're a little bit in the electric vehicles. We do have, like, some businesses who are actually, like, looking into electric vehicles or, like, have electric vehicles, and we do, like, help point that out and note that out and stuff. We don't currently have any, like, active projects with electric vehicles, I don't think, but like, we're not gonna, like, not promote them. Like, we're like, they do overall, I think, have a good positive outcome. So we would, love to help keep promoting those.
Yeah, I know Rivian reached out to us a while ago, and I looked at what they sent, but it was like just the price of the vehicle was almost twice the vehicles that we buy, and the storage space was a little less. So, like, at that point,
it's hard.
Yeah, we can't afford that.
Totally.
Anything else anyone should know or think about with what you guys are doing? And
yeah, I mean, we just like to invite anyone, any business in Big Sky to apply. We're more than happy to, like, help go through and provide any resources that you think you might need. So if you or anyone like, is a business interested, we'd love to help get you started on the process.
And do you have goals set for, how many businesses do you want to work with? Like, how are you sort of measuring what, like, the impact?
Last year when we started, I think our goal was 5 businesses within the year, and the program was launched last August, and we currently have 6 businesses achieved. So we're doing good. So that was, like, our first milestone, and we have some meetings coming up this summer as we're, like, reaching the end of our first year to see, like, where can we go from here and stuff.
Okay.
So.
And then what, like, do you have a vision for, for Snow in, like, the next 5 years or 10 years? Yeah,
I mean, we want to keep growing our business. I think we want to just keep being involved in as many community events as we can. We do a lot of, like, zero waste stuff at, like, PBR and Wildlands Festival and stuff, and we're always looking for, like, volunteers, and we love to grow our volunteer field. So if anyone's interested in volunteering, we're always looking for people to participate in that. We're doing a lot of, like, wildfire stuff, like I said, so we're super excited to release some of that stuff at the end of the summer. We work with, like, Grow Wild a lot. Kind of just, like, keep getting our toes into any projects that we can.
And did you say you graduated this year?
I did, yeah.
Oh, nice. What's your degree in?
Environmental science.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So this is your mission for now, or what you're going to be doing?
Yeah, I'm pretty passionate about the environment and stuff, and I love, like, the advocacy side of things. So I, for right now, I'm working with Snow and loving it.
Nice. And tell me where you're from originally, because I asked you about your name.
Yeah. So originally I'm from just outside of Vail, Colorado.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do you pronounce your last name? Because I know
Skiba.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Zosia Skiba.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And you kind of alluded to it. If anyone wants volunteers or anything else you guys, like, Snow is looking for as far as people to work with you guys, just volunteers?
Yeah, I think right now just volunteers. You can also be a Snow member and stuff. We have, like, options to, like, help donate and participate in that stuff. If anyone wants to do that. But I think our main goal is, like, we love anyone who wants to come in and help volunteer for us.
And is a snow member, is that a business? Can that be an individual?
It can be a business, it can be an individual, it can be anyone who wants to help participate.
Cool. And I think you mentioned your website. Are you guys on social media and stuff too?
Yeah, we are. I think it's just Big Sky Snow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, when I get all that, I'll put it in the description.
Okay, great. Sounds good.
Well, thanks for coming to do this, and thanks for what you're doing.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, folks. You can find the full blog post for every episode, along with key takeaways and links at mountain-mule.com. If you haven't yet, consider following the show. That one small action helps these Montana businesses get seen, grow, and thrive, and it helps this podcast keep going too. If you know a business that would be a good fit for the show, we'd love to hear from you. Just reach out through the website or social. Thank you for supporting these Montana businesses. See you on the next show.